What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Toronto real estate market update for April 1st, 2020. I wanted to share with you some of the analysis I've done with respect to the Toronto real estate market that has been directly or indirectly impacted by COVID-19. But before I get into it, let's take a quick look at the most recent numbers. The average sold price in the last 28 days in Toronto was $984,000. This is just slightly lower than the previous month when the average was $1 million. Although the average price is dropping month over month, prices are still higher right now compared to last year by 18.6%. Compared to just 3 months ago, prices are up by 12%. This makes sense because the real estate market is usually slower in the winter. Now here's where it gets a little more interesting. Compared to last month, prices have dropped by about 1%. Is this the drop in price that you were suspecting? Let me know in the comments what you think. Let's think back to what happened in the beginning of March. There were several key interest rate drops by the Bank of Canada, a state of emergency was declared, and I'll quickly touch more on this in the second half of the video. In the last 4 weeks, there have been just over 4,700 new listings. This is an increase from the previous month when there were only 3,400 new listings. So it appears that new listings are rising month over month. So does this mean despite COVID-19, we're still seeing a typical spring market? The number of homes sold is just below 2,600. This is also an increase from the previous month when homes sold was at 2,200. In the last month, it took on average 11 days to sell a home in Toronto. That's just over 1.5 weeks. Compared to the previous month, it took 15 days, so just over 2 weeks to sell a home. So does that mean it takes less time to sell a home now in Toronto despite COVID-19? So here's where it gets even more interesting. This graph here represents the Toronto housing market impact of COVID-19. In order to understand the true impact of COVID-19 on the Toronto real estate market, I took the approach of looking at things week over week. Looking at things like the number of homes that sold compared to last year, the number of condos that sold, the number of new listings, and how many listings are being canceled. So let's take a look. The yellow bar graph represents the sales from 2019. Sales this year are represented by the gray line. Condo sales are represented by the orange line. And you can see that both lines are trending downward ever since the beginning of March. During that time, the Bank of Canada had made several changes to the key interest rate. A state of emergency was declared on March 17th. Several businesses were forced to close temporarily, and some of these businesses may not be able to recover from this depending on how detrimental this is. We've also got the number of new listings here in blue, where it was at its peak at the beginning of March and also saw a steady decline week over week. When there are less choices for buyers, some areas can experience a seller's market. For some of the listings that are still on the market, some are listed below market value. This sort of pricing strategy can encourage multiple offers and offer night situations. Sadly, this will also encourage people to ignore social distancing. If you are a buyer out there and going to home showings, please take the necessary precautions. There's a number of new forms implemented now that will help protect buyers and sellers from a legal standpoint. If you have any questions about these forms or how the process has changed, please let me know and I'll be glad to help you. So while the number of sales and the number of listings has been decreasing, the number of canceled transactions has been rising. This could be because home sellers have lost confidence in the market. They're not in a rush to sell. Some might be expecting higher home values without adjusting to the current market conditions. And there's a lot of speculation about when is the spring market actually going to pick up. Some believe that the spring market will be pushed out to the summertime, which is also the same time that a lot of people believe that the market will begin to recover. So what do you think? When will the economy recover? When will we see the end of this devastating virus? Let me know what you think of the Toronto real estate market. Share with me your 2 cents on what you think of everything going on right now. Write a comment below to share your thoughts or ask a question. Okay guys, so that about wraps it up. Please continue to stay safe out there and I'll see you next time.